We are live. This is the market update. Did you buy the dip? Did you not sell? I hope so. Altcoins up 20%. We're going to show you how to capture the next 20% with sector rotation. We're going to buy the dip, and then we're going to sell it out on the God candle that's coming either today or in the next couple of days. This is the strategy. Buy whatever dip there was today. Take any coin that's up 20% and rotate that money into something that's not up 20%. Want to hear the coins you're going to rotate into? Want to hear the coins that you're going to rotate out of? Stay right here. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, please hit the thumbs up. All right, let's take a look and see who's here. All right, I can't see who's here. So what we'll do is we'll welcome everybody who's coming into the stream. Right? Let's see if we can guess. Bull Runner. Nobody can see who's here. So let me see if I can guess. Right? Bull Runner, Richard Barry, Aiken, Lawn Shark, Robin, SFG, Aiken. Okay, so if I didn't get you, I will next time. I know we have friends here from Netherlands, Spain, UK, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Using my psychic powers to get there. Okay. Hopefully you're all seeing this. If not, we'll do it all again. Let's go to news. Okay, this is totally unbelievable. According to Gallup, a record number of Americans expect stocks to go down over the next 6 months. A record 48% of Americans expect the stock market to go down, and 18% say the stock market will go up or stay the same. No, 18% say it'll stay the same. 31% think it'll go up, and 48% think it's going to go down. Let me see if I can get the graphic. Okay, yeah. So 48% down. That's probably as bad as it was back at the bottom in 2003. Okay. 31% think it's going to go up. That's like a Gulf War II low. I mean, I got to be honest with you. When you see stuff like this, this is why Cramer thinks it's a bull market, even though on Monday he was tweeting about how negative it was. That, you know, the market was down to Monday after the inflation number. So let me give Jim some love there. The bottom line is people are way too bearish. Okay, let me get to this fun fact. The debt on the interest payment on the U.S. national debt is approaching $1 trillion. We now owe $850 billion a year just to pay interest. I've been saying this to the point where I need like an IV drip from exhaustion, saying the Federal Reserve cannot continue to tighten at this rate or he will blow up the United States. So they're raising rates, and good luck with that when we have to pay $1 trillion a year in just interest. Ordinals NFTs launch on Bitcoin. Now, we talked about this. This is now becoming a much hotter topic. If you haven't heard by now, Ordinals is a new way to store on-chain NFTs on Bitcoin. That's right. The hottest NFTs are now on Bitcoin. Okay? Because it puts NFTs on Bitcoin without using a layer 2 or sidechain. Ordinals work by inscribing arbitrary data onto individual Satoshis by using Bitcoin built-in scripting languages. So these NFTs are truly on-chain. Now, be honest. Did you understand that? No, of course not. I don't. But the thing is, that's why it'll work. When something comes out like, oh, they're going to put Bitcoin on NFTs. Do you understand the tech? No. Do you know how to buy it? No. No. Okay. How do I buy them? Everything is trusted OTC right now. There is no marketplace or trustless trades yet, but we should have them soon. We are so early. Can you imagine what happens in this space? I just got an advertisement for Bitcoin Miami, May of 2023. You imagine if they've got NFTs going on Bitcoin for that conference? Oh my God. Forget about it. And Web3 is dead though, right? It's all negative, all awful. Like shares of Bitcoin miner, HUT, Slump, HUT 8, Slump on merger with US Bitcoin Corp. Okay, so this kind of sucks because I was a big fan of HUT 8, but Bitcoin miners are consolidating, leveraging the Bitcoin that they've got on their balance sheet. To be honest, HUT 8 is down today because of the mechanics of the merger. I actually see this as bullish that Bitcoin miners are banding together because it's kind of like a bear market activity. It's like we have to huddle together to survive, right? The more bearish people are, the more I like it. Crypto Super Bowl advertising will be absent this year. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. You know, if it was like astronauts and going to the moon, and that is a sell every single time. Do you realize that if you looked at the 2021 Super Bowl and you shorted every company that had a Super Bowl ad, you would have made like $1,000 in each position would have yielded you millions, because everybody who advertised in a Super Bowl, FTX, whatever, everything went to zero. So thank God we don't have to look at crypto Super Bowl ads. Bank of England planning to launch digital pound by 2030. Excellent. More surveillance. And what's even funnier is that, you know, they actually plan you can only have $20,000 in Bitcoin. So we want to surveil you and we want to control how much of it you can and cannot get. I mean, my grandmother emigrated to the United States from Manchester, you know, and obviously anybody who studied American history, particularly anything recent like the 20th century where the U.S. had to team up with England, you know, to fight off various bad guys, Cold War, you name it. I hate this stuff. I hate it that it's the English, you know, so proud of the UK. I just remember being at Winston Churchill's bunker, like a tourist attraction, you know, where you could see his actual bunker for World War II, which of course was populated by, you know, largely American tourists. You know, I hate this kind of stuff. I hate it, right? This central bank digital currency thing, I thought it was good. It's not. Microsoft announces new AI-powered Bing homepage that allows you to chat with your computer. Okay, so ChatGPT, amazing. You know, the team market update is using it. We can't use it fast enough. So I get it. It's making a small group be like a big group. However, where is the value being created from this thing? It's a generic question. Like, this feels like everyone is bearish stocks right as a new form of the internet is about to take shape. Because I can't wait until ChatGPT shows up in the metaverse. I think some of these altcoins that we're going to talk about in a minute, you know, that are just mooning, like the market is trying to figure out, probably using crypto, going, hey, you know, metaverse, all this stuff takes off. What do we buy? What's the AI play inside crypto? And you know what? As is typical in crypto, if there isn't any, they're going to make one up. They're going to make one up. because this is going to create value somewhere. Is it going to be reflected in the stock market? Is it going to be reflected in Microsoft stock? Probably, right? All these big tech stocks that got destroyed last year, they all cut costs, and now they have a revenue story here. They have a story. Okay, and here is Ordinals.com. This is the homepage for NFTs on Bitcoin. This is ununderstandable, at least to me, right off the bat, which is exactly why it's probably going to moon indiscriminately. Because like DeFi, like NFTs, like everything that came out at the start of the last cycle, the stuff that went up the most is the stuff no one understood or couldn't buy. That was one thing that Oh Hey Maddie said that really stuck with me. The harder it is to find it, the harder it is to buy, the harder it's going to go up. Like you get rewarded for figuring out how to get involved in these things. So it's not investment advice, but this Ordinals NFT thing is not going away. All right. So we want to welcome everybody who's joining the chat. We want to remind you to hit the like button. We had a software glitch today, and I actually can't see who's here. So keep right on chatting, right on going. We appreciate you're here. All right. And then, we've got, I hate to say this. I hope this never turns into me. Right. So poor Jim Cramer says, I reiterate, it's a bull market. Right before the Fed came out and said something and equities turned around and tanked. You don't want to be emotional. Don't. Okay. And we're going to talk about this. So, this guy's been around for a long time. He's having a tough time. Making fun of him is fashionable and sometimes funny, except, it's not funny because it could happen to me, and it has. Question becomes, in crypto, is crypto in like this Momo stage with everything going up 20%, where when altcoins look like this, you go, when everything's up 20% and everything is doing a God candle, is that the time to rotate into something that's not doing a God candle? And then when everything has gone up 20 or 30% in one day, is that the time to, ready? Take profits. I've been telling you not to take profits or not to take too much profits, to stay in this market and not go to sleep on it. And I still think that. I don't think ETH is done at all. Okay. It's not over until it's at 1800 something in ETH. But when ETH does get to 1800 something, I think that is the time to head for the door. Because, you don't want this to be you in crypto. Okay. Let's continuing to welcome who's here on the stream. Thank you everybody for coming in. Okay, we're going to PowerPoint now. Okay. A record number of Americans expect stocks to tumble. This is a short-term chart, right? An 89-minute chart. Okay, I'm sharing it. Let me reshare the PowerPoint. Okay, so here comes the PowerPoint screen share. Perfect. Okay, you've heard this. Americans expect stocks to tumble. Stocks go down off Jerome Powell going wah, 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 wah. We don't care about what he says anymore because they can't pay the interest on the debt. So stocks hit a trend line, and I'm guessing they turn around and go higher. Just be careful because people get chopped up. You get really bullish, and then they drop it in your face. Okay, Algorand, all of these coins mooning today. Let's put our moon boy hats on and say, okay, if this thing goes ballistic, where can this stuff go? So one of the first things you want to do in a moon market is start to establish aggressive upside targets. So if there was a 2-week rally in altcoins, if you had like an alt season, right? Like everyone has said, hey, the bull market is back. Your upside target in Algorand, if it's a 4-week bull market, would probably be 45 cents. Okay, AAVE, right? Just like, standard DeFi, because I know a lot of DeFi coins rallying, right? Somebody brought up DeFi Perp yesterday. I was like, that person was right, wherever they are. Okay, so it's like, wait a minute. You know, if AAVE has 4 more up weeks and there's no resistance until, I don't know, there's resistance above 100, but the DeMark point's at 198. Now, I just think you need to keep in mind, like, what happens if this gets totally stupid? And this really gets emotional, right? Like, it's starting to get emotional because you got a lot of small altcoins up 20%. You probably got hedge fund buying panic and retail buying panic starting to come in, right? Which is why, you know, you want to rotate out of whatever they're FOMOing into and rotate into something like this that really hasn't moved yet. Okay, so we have ticker symbol RAY. Okay, up huge today. You maybe get one more big up day out of this too, right? See over here, it's a classic case. Don't go to sleep on this market. This thing was a bird on a wire sitting on top of this moving average, and then boom. Now, I can't pick every single small altcoin, but they all have similar properties, right? Chili's, NFTs. Anybody remember that? You know, we had this structure that we drew. It broke through this area, right? Right, like 14.5 cents. It could go to 17 cents, right? I would be headed for the door and looking to move the money somewhere else, like NEAR, Solana, AAVE. I go from small cap to big cap and see what happens, especially when you got new highs and 20% moves, right? IoTech, 0.037. Now, I guess, given the extent of this rally, if you didn't want to get off the bandwagon, I don't blame you. Would I buy this thing today up a lot? No. If I had profits, would I take it and rotate it into something else? Yes. Yes. This rotation game continues. So remember how I would always say in past streams, you know, if you've got an altcoin, right, and you've been sitting with it, suffering with it, or you just jumped into it this year, leave it. Now that they're going up 20 to 30% at a time, you know, you get one or two of those rallies, you take the money and you put it somewhere else. Okay, ZCX, very similar situation. Now here you're getting, you know, you've gotten multiple dips, right? It went up, you got a dip, and it went up, and they're still selling. If they don't push this down, okay, this thing could have 2 more big up days. Okay, so this is not a 4-hour chart. It's a daily. I'm sorry that's mislabeled. You could have 2 more big up days here, and if you get it, take the money. Take the money and rotate it somewhere else. Okay, VAI. Okay, you know, similar massive moonshot from 8 cents to 24 cents. 27 cents could be it. Okay, so it may have made its move already. That said, if it holds 22 cents, it's probably going to try to attack the high because fear of missing out at the retail level is here. You can tell by the way this is trading, and that's great. Because if you're listening to this stream, you're long and strong, whatever you wanted to be long or strong. Now, if it takes off and you get like 40% gratification in a 3-day period, take the money and put it somewhere else. Put it in Bitcoin, NEAR, Solana, Avalanche, AAVE, Polkadot. Okay, Optimism. This is a great place to rotate money into, right? So Optimism led the altcoin rally that we're having now. Optimism went first. Went to $3 and it chills out, and every single coin is doing this, right? It goes up, it goes sideways, and then it makes these like square consolidation patterns, and then boom. This is probably, if this is above 3, it's probably going to 4. And it's probably not over this little altcoin cycle until Optimism is either at $4 or at some round number like 5. So if you got to rotate out, if you got small coin profits, you want to rotate into something, not investment advice, this is where we're going. Hey, Immutable X, we talked about this yesterday, right? It's like, hey, it would be rude to not take out the top of this parallel channel, and hello, they took it out. You know, NFTs, metaverse, even things like oracles, the graph, etc. Now, why is this relevant? Well, you've seen render moving. If you look on my Twitter, I did Crypto Keeps show, Debate Crypto, yesterday with Crusader, right? And as soon as I get on the show, he wants to talk render, the graph, okay? Now, what he doesn't know, what he didn't know, was that render and graph are like metaverse infrastructure plays from Multicoin Capital, which is a big hedge fund here in Austin, Texas. Now, they have done nothing but print money. They owned a little bit too much Solana. That's an understatement. And they got hosed and caught in FTX. But their research, like they hodled the graph all last year. And they bought render because when they did a metaverse play, they bet on metaverse infrastructure, which is what render does, right? In other words, we have to 3D animate the world and then get AI working to give you friends and things to do and places to go. The graph is the data infrastructure and render is the imaging infrastructure. And this token is absolutely mooning. And I remember what Chainlink did when the DeFi Oracle took off, and this may be the metaverse Oracle, right? This could go to 30 cents. Like nothing's going to stop this. And this is available on Coinbase. So everybody who's waking up on Coinbase to the fact that all coins are going up, they're going to be like, you know, you're going to have massive FOMO into this. And you're entering an area where, you know, like I said, this was a complete collapse off FTX, right? Like this has got an upside catalyst, a story, major hedge fund backing, and you're about to enter some sort of air pocket, right? So with this, I think you stay on the train. You just leave this for like 3 or 4 days and see what they can do. This is an object in motion. You know, I would not get out of the way. I would not step off this train. Give this 3 weeks to unwind all of this excessive bearishness from FTX. Another altcoin formation, which, you know, again, I talked about with Crusader, and this is true across the entire space. Been talking about it here. The bigger the base, the higher in the space. Stuff collapses like ApeCoin. That was the other thing we were doing. Things go straight down. They go straight sideways, and then they go straight up. They just go straight up. The bigger the base, the higher in the space. ETH made this formation in 2019, 2018, 2019, 2020. It went from 300 to 4,000. Just whoosh. The same thing is going to happen in all of these altcoins that have value proposition. And obviously, you know, if Multicoin did its research, you know, that's going to be good enough for me, particularly if you look at the price action. Now, Enjin Coin, you got a 13 top. It's not backing off. Okay. You did take out the previous fourth by a little bit. So it remains to be seen if they can take out 50 cents. Okay. What I have noticed during the bull market last year, 2 years ago, was when something consolidated below resistance, it eventually broke out. Now, fingers crossed, I think that may actually repeat itself. Like if there is one more thrust up, like if you get like something where Bitcoin doesn't move, some of these other altcoins may thrust through resistance. Okay, that said, if that does not happen, take the money. Take the money and put it somewhere else because the rotation game is on. When you've got stuff moving 20% a day, you know, you take it from the winners and you move it to something that might be a winner in the future. NEAR comes to mind, right? This was the end of a correction here, right? Back in December. So this whole giant decline was one big avalanche lower. Then you go, wave 1, wave 2, and I'm wondering if the next thing is wave 3. Whether people are actually going to start thinking about building on this thing. It's like, if you like NEAR at $9, I think you got to look at it at $2. You got to start looking at it. And why not? If you got the house's money to play with, try it. Okay, HBAR, the HBAR Barbarians or the Hedera Barbarians, people mean business in this coin. It's like the layer 1, right? This is the new hot thing. This was actually trending on Twitter. Okay, that makes me kind of want to take profits. The thing is, every time it dips, someone is there, right? It goes up, it shoots up, and the way it dips, it'll shoot up and then come back down. And each one of these dips gets shallower before somebody comes in and starts ramming it higher again. So it goes from 4 cents to 8 cents. Now it just sits here. Okay. You may see 4 or 5 more days, of possibly shocking upside in this thing. Right. You don't know how emotional the market can get. I don't know. I'm guessing it can. It may do it today. Right. But when you get these God candles from here on out, rotate the money. You don't want to get all the way out. That's cool. But you got to start playing the rotation game now, right? It goes down, you flash crash it, you buy it. You want to know about why there might be a flash crash? I'll tell you. This is another reason why I want to play the rotation game. I don't want to get caught with my entire bag in 3 coins that just went up 80%. Not now, right? You made 80% or whatever. Let's get some of that money and buy a dip in something else, a dip as defined by maybe perhaps sideways movement. Okay, HBAR. So if we're going to imagine what can happen on the upside, if 0.073 holds, then 10 cents is possible. So if you're an HBARbarian, right, and you think it's really going up, I would give you 10 cents as a target if this is like a fundamental shift is happening. A fundamental shift is happening. So if you don't want to get off the train and it's holding above 7 cents, I don't blame you. Stay on the train, right? Just leave a little money to be able to rotate into somewhere else. You do not want to have everything in one altcoin. So I'm going from cowboy bullish, right? Full bull tard to responsible portfolio management when I see 5 or 6 coins up 20%. And that is the market update. Okay, let's live TA this thing. So again, I want to welcome everybody who's on the stream. If you're wondering why I'm not answering your question or saying hello to you directly, it's because for whatever some technical reason, I cannot see the comments today. Okay. So that's not okay, but I do want to let you know that I appreciate you being here. Now, let's take a look. Let's do some live TA. Market is all over the place. Let's just check to see where the market is. Okay. So stocks were way down and then they went back up again. Okay. Ethereum is up 2%. If you take a look over on my Twitter, okay, you take a look over here on my Twitter, there's nobody home here until 1880, right? The support, the risk reward, the support is at 1575 and the upside target is 1880. And in my experience, when ETH makes these square consolidations, it usually goes up, right? And then notice, of course, what's trending over here, Bitcoin NFTs. I'm telling you right now, they get NFTs moving on Bitcoin. The Bitcoin maximalists will hate it, which is all the more reason to like it. Not that I have anything against Bitcoin maximalists, but every time someone goes, oh, what is that? Please, trust me. Everyone's like, oh, DeFi? Oh, JPEGs of monkeys? What? Cyberpunks with the Mona Lisa? Visa put a cyberpunk on its balance sheet at the top of the NFT craze. And now people are looking at this and you only have 15K tweets. You had people selling, I don't know. I mean, anybody could sell 10,000 NFTs. The guy that was from Zero Hedge, I took his profile pic and sold 10,000 NFTs. They were selling NFTs on Solana, 10,000 at a time. And we only have 15K tweets about Bitcoin NFTs. The market's got a lot of room to go up, particularly in the big coins. Okay. Ethereum on a daily chart. Okay. There's your base. Okay. This was your base back in 2020, 2019, right? I mean, this base started in December of 2018, and it finally accelerated after the COVID crash in March of 2020. Every single altcoin probably is going to wind up looking like this. The bigger the base, the higher into space. It's the most important chart out there. 90-minute Cardano chart. Really nice 13 bottom on a puke here. Really nice ABC correction. 40 cents. You know, I know everyone's chasing the small coins today. That's great. Okay. But you got to be, I just think you got to rotate into this stuff. Okay. Let's just look at what's massively higher today, right? Casper. Okay. Looking at this yesterday, Casper got to its price target at 0.046. And you know what? Like, this has been destroyed. Okay, the AI plays, the way I want to play AI, big cap tech stocks, right? Microsoft, Meta, etc. Or, honestly, you can chase what other people are chasing, right? So this is Fetch.ai. Looks like it's absolutely going to the moon. But if you look at the log chart, it's just getting to its high. So the answer to what AI play do I do? The answer is you would have to jump on whatever is moving. I was actually wondering about UFO games only because it's down today. It's down today. So I just want to buy anything in metaverse and gaming that's down. I know that is just so completely unsophisticated, but it's like, what is in this space that's down, that's not moving yet? You know, the other one is Nakamoto, right? This went from 5 cents to 35 cents, and it's this simple, right? If this is an AI play, then you simply buy every dip. You know, the thumbnail, there's a party game where, you know, they'll set a bar and you'll try to like sort of squish your body down so you can slide underneath the bar. The AI play is to buy every dip in stuff like this. The other AI play is to say, how are you going to interact with AI in the future? Are you going to chat with ChatGPT on your desktop? That's like saying I'm going to sit and use America Online with dial-up internet. I mean, that's where we are with AI. So the question isn't what is mooning with AI now. The question is what is going to be mooning with AI later. That has to be metaverse, right? Let's just look to see what Vulcan is doing. Okay. So if you ask me what I want to do for metaverse, I'm sorry, you want to do for AI, I want to do metaverse. Really? I mean, there's so much media excitement about AI that I understand if you find something that everyone else thinks is AI, it'll go up a lot. And I gave you those coins, right? It looks like the small layer ones are back in play. But if you look at the metaverse, right, this is down only. And then I like this Williams oscillator because it's very close to zero. And sometimes you can get really big moves when that happens. So there's a lot of people who think that NFTs and metaverse are dead. AI makes the metaverse. Just take a look at, I mean, investment advice is not allowed, right? This is not an investment advice show. But when you look at a weekly chart of Meta, right? The fade Cramer move unfortunately, was that he got twisted around. He liked it up here, and, you know, he was literally crying on the air as it collapsed below 100. I mean, this went down only. Who are you going to be talking to in the metaverse? This stock was at $350. It's now at $190. And if you're looking for leverage, well, there's leveraged options plays because, again, this is, I think, U.S. stocks, given bearish sentiment, could be up only. It's up only. I mean, let's just go. I had this chart, and I know everyone blew me off. I know everyone was like, whatever, Bill. Okay. I mean, this is S&P monthly, right? S&P monthly, right? Wave count. Okay. The post starts in 2016, rallies until pre-COVID, goes straight down on COVID. That's wave 2. So we started with the 2016 election, 4-year rally. 2-month correction off COVID. Okay. 2-year rally off the printing press. 1-year decline on the tightening cycle. So wave 3 up on liquidity in, wave 4 down on liquidity out, and then wave 5 up on massive bearish sentiment. Massive. And I know everyone's looking for the 100x in crypto off the AI play. It may not be 100x in crypto. It may be you have to use options in things like NDX or even ARK. Like the altcoin that's been destroyed in the equity market is ARK. ARK Innovation ETF. Right? Okay, so you know, there are 3 crypto AI trades. Okay, there's OpenAI, there's EVO AI, and there's Imagine AI, IMGN AI. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, you do this stuff in crypto at your own risk. Okay, you better do your research. So this is Imagine AI. Okay, you do your homework on this stuff. You do your homework. Just because I put it up on the screen doesn't mean I recommend it. Now, honestly, okay, and then I'm going to switch over here. So there's EVO AI. I mean, I'll show it. Okay, so these are crypto-based AI trades. These could be tokens that have AI in their name. That doesn't mean they're good investments. I'm not saying anything one way or the other. Okay? I'm not saying anything one way or the other. What I would be doing if I owned anything that had AI in it, or I was in the AI business, I would be selling it to people who are emotionally pouring into the space. How are you going to pay for things in the metaverse, and who are you going to be talking to in the metaverse? God, you know, I know people who work at Meta. They would say like, oh my God, you know, I can't believe what he did with the stock, and I can't believe we're in the metaverse and blah, 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 blah. Dude, this guy spent $9 billion on the metaverse. Now, you don't have to like Web 2, but anything associated with this, like particularly metaverse infrastructure, like I go with render and the graph. Like if you want to jump on the trend, jump on the quality. You know, the 1000x in AI was somebody who bought AI related stuff 3 years ago, or who bought call options in Meta at 84 cents. Okay. Back to live TA. Okay, going to pull up some of like the hotter charts here. So here's HBAR, right? Now, if the topic of conversation is I missed it and I got to get involved, you know, it doesn't have to be an AI play. The market is trading some theme here. Now, this is at resistance, so I'm not really into buying resistance. But if it does break out, there is one strategy that I've talked about, which is buy breakouts. So if you had no position, It's almost like you would wait for this to break out and then validate what the breakout and then go with it. Most likely, stuff's getting emotional. Okay, someone was asking about AIOZ. Okay, it's something on Coinbase. Okay, so on the 4-hour chart, it's got a 13 bottom. It's not doing anything bad. It's consolidating below 4 cents. And again, the bigger the base, the higher into space, right? If any of this stuff has redeeming a value proposition, it can go. Now, just over to Zcash Weekly, same story, right? I was really into this. I see it's up today. And I will tell you right now, with Zcash and Litecoin up, if Zcash and Litecoin don't turn around and reverse, or this market actually manages to hold in, that would be very constructive. Normally, when Litecoin and Zcash move, that's the end of the move. Now, in GAN, there is a level here at 1,700. If ETH prints 1,700 and accelerates, the move will be bigger than you expect. If ETH can't print 1,700, then we may have to just sit here. Okay. All right. So we have a couple requests coming in. We figured out how to get the requests in. So we are taking requests. Okay, Helium. So let's go to a 4-hour chart on some of this stuff. Okay, I'm going to have to go to Helium over here. Okay, I'm going to a 4-hour chart. Okay. So you got a lot of people excited today, no doubt, right? Helium was up. Let's see where it could go. So I've seen this a lot, you know, on a 4-hour chart, right? So this is bird on a wire kind of action. $3, an obvious psychological point, also happens to be a hidden pivot level. I guess maybe the theme for today's stream is anything that's up 20%. You can take some of the money and buy something that's not up 20%. This is what happens, and I have been about this, right? When you have hedge funds that are underinvested, retail is afraid. The moment retail becomes unafraid, that's when everything starts moving. So the ongoing answer to the question of what is an AI play, isn't everything an AI play? Like, for example, when the internet came out, well, you weren't there for this, but when the internet evolved and they started trading the internet and the PC between 1998 and 2000, everything was an internet stock. Every company benefited from the internet. Now, at first, it was like, well, this is the new economy and this is the old economy. Well, that's not true, right? I mean, that was true for the investment thesis at the time, but eventually everybody leveraged the web to grow earnings, as everybody is going to leverage AI, right? Eventually, it's going to increase productivity massively. Okay, now there's a lot of hope, hype, fear, my job's going away. All of that, generally speaking, it may be true in the long run, but people can get emotional about these things fast. The reason you watch this show is because you want to be like, all right, exciting stuff's going on. How do I trade it? With Helium, if they're going to trade the decentralized internet, I'm not a fan of the decentralized internet, but if it's holding $3, it can go to $4.50. Or at a minimum, it can go to $3.50. So if it's not up 20%, I don't see a need to get out. I mean, if it dips, if anything, you take it on the dip. And the same thing goes with all these coins that are up 25%. You got a coin up 25%. I don't see a reason to jump into that today. Matter of fact, I'd be jumping out of it. Okay, interesting. Okay, Axie Infinity, right? I know we got other coins. We got Loopring. Don't worry, it's coming. Okay, Axie Infinity, dead, boring, right? How about Axie Infinity? It's $16. Right now, it's trading at 11. Like, these things could start moving. The metaverse is going to wake up. If somebody else has a better idea for where they're going to put intelligence generated by a computer, I'm all ears. Okay, QNT just came in. Okay, we are taking requests. Okay, my thesis in QNT was anything above 140 implied 180. Let me see if I can replicate the analysis right here. Okay. So here's 140. You know, they're doing a very delicate dance here. I'll label this chart up. I know we have Loopring and JASMY to get to. And whoever was on Casper yesterday, congratulations. Great call bringing that up. Right? 140, 282. This QNT. They got a big marketing budget. I don't know if they managed to create hype, which was how the token moved to begin with. Okay. Alternative payment networks. Which do you want? Do you want QNT or do you want this? Love the Union Jack, man. Don't like central bank digital currencies. Would much rather have QNT. Okay, Loopring, somebody patiently waiting. Okay, let me bring it up. Let me see if I can get it on DeMark. No real sign of this stopping, right? 13 top, straight up, three down days. They want it again. Now, I would not be happy if this failed. It is counting in the other direction. I think they just retested that point. Right. In other words, this was a ceiling. This was an epic ceiling, right? There was a spike up and then they just annihilated it. This looks like a confirmed breakout to me, right? 43, 44 cents could be next. I mean, folks, if it goes up, it breaks out and then it confirms it. You long this, carry on. If there's a flash event or there's some sort of dip, which there can be, which I do want to go into why that could be the case, you know, then you manage the P&L from there. I would say if this thing gets emotional and heads for a new high, you can take some of the profit and let the rest of it run. If you suffered in it for God knows how long, fuck it, just stay in. Right? In other words, make them push you out. Okay? That said, active portfolio management, right? You have a coin, it's up 25%, take the money, put it somewhere else. You wanted to buy a coin, it went up 25%, you missed it, don't worry about it. There'll be a dip in that, or there'll be an opportunity to get on something else. Because whatever's going up today will consolidate tomorrow while Optimism and NEAR go up for the next leg. Okay, JASMY, people have been on the stream for a long time about this. The bigger the base, the higher in the space. Okay, 13 top. Okay, boom. It should go to 0.007 and it breaks out. You know what? If you suffered with this, and I know people have suffered with this, the previous fourth wave is at 0.012. Just leave it. If we got a full-blown alt season going on here, again, you know, like I predict, I analyze, I synthesize information, but I'm not some psychic genius. What I do know is that if you were long JASMY and you've suffered with it and you got off the train and this thing did a 3x, you'd never sleep again. So if the trend is your friend, I don't think this is going to go up forever, but we could be headed for like an alt season God candle in, say, ETH and all the big coins. And if that's the case, this could continue to go up. So if it's up 25%, consider reallocating money. If you've suffered with it for a long time, stay with it. I still think you should always be balanced from here on out. Okay. Bitcoin sees golden cross, which last 2 times hit 2 months before all-time highs. Wow, someone's looking at charts now. Hey, now, check that out. Let's see what they got going on here. Oh, look at this. A crypto chart. Hey, we've returned to price. Wow, you mean FTX is not news anymore? Don't you love the press? That's why you watch this show, because we're on it 2 months before they are. GALA Games. Now, GALA Games, I have to admit, and I'm happy to admit, somebody on this show came up with. Somebody like way back in January goes, hey, how about GALA? This was a big Wendy O coin, right? GALA Games. Okay, so GALA Games goes up, gives you a 13 top, comes off 2 or 3 days, and it just sits here. So when you look at the weekly chart, okay, GALA broke out above all kinds of resistance levels. Theoretically, there can be 3 more up weeks. Now, this does look a little tired, but you don't know what this green candle means. In other words, this was take profits, 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 puke, buyers come in. All right. Now, you don't know if that's just like a, hey, I missed it, let's buy the dip thing, or whether or not this is going to get more serious. Now, I would be tempted to get off the train on stuff that's up 30%. And if I had to buy something, it would be something that's down. So not investment advice, but you don't know what somebody coming in underneath the market and going, whoop, I'll take some of this. I still think the AI play, actually, I think the AI play is crypto, period. There's an AI-based world. A crypto payment system, okay, is going to be next. Okay, so we have Ziliqa here. Very similar. 13 top, no impact. Possibility of 4 more up days to 0.034. You know, and when you look at these weekly charts, you have to just keep in mind your moon levels of 0.049. Now, Wrong Again wants to know what's the most important sentiment indicator. Fear, greed is good, although I rarely look at it, right? Crypto Twitter is fantastic at the extremes. It's fantastic. I mean, at 65K, it was 100K for sure. In December, it was like, you know, let's take CZ out and burn down the market. Okay. A lot of people like to fade Cramer. I think you have to look at sentiment and you have to look at price. Okay. You have to look at both. Best indicator, the one I rely on, is Twitter. Is Twitter, I think. Okay. Filecoin. I don't know what this is doing today, but any of this data infrastructure stuff, like, you know, for example, I used to work for Charlie Shrem. I'm pretty sure he's a Filecoin guy. Okay. It's a very odd price action here for the previous 4th wave. Okay. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16 days of profit taking in Filecoin. They're like, okay, there was a rally. Excellent. I'm out. 16 days. It didn't move. It can go to $6.55. Okay. This is a good green candle. It's a good day in crypto. If you get an emotional rally from here, if people are showing and validating the idea of sector rotation and dip buying, okay, even though this is up a lot today, if people validate this in these bigger coins, you know, where is Filecoin if ETH is at 1,800? Okay, Secret. I saw Secret up 4% today. Somebody asked a long time ago, like maybe 2 weeks ago. It's a long time in market update terms, I guess. A week ago, what about, you know, this, are the small cap layer ones dead? I think my answer was, well, maybe. Okay, but so all of a sudden, people want to speculate now. People want to speculate about different faster networks. Now, Secret, massive resistance at 85 cents. Love the concept. Love the privacy narrative. Okay. Now, in prior bull markets, when things consolidate below resistance, they turn around and break out. Here's a question. Do I have the cojones to say, you know, buy it underneath resistance because it's eventually going to turn around and break out? Honestly, I don't. I like this, okay, but I'm not sure we're at the point, because we don't have the liquidity for it, where you could just indiscriminately buy underneath resistance. Okay. If Secret broke out above 85 cents, again, you get too caught in minutia as a technical analyst sometimes. I mean, this was at $6.5, $6.50. It's now at 80. So do you really care if there's resistance at 85 cents? Probably not. And if I own this, would I get out? No, I wouldn't. I mean, if you get hosed, if there's a dip, which there's going to be a sharp dip. I promise to show you as I'm banging out the requests, right? Zcash, can't stop loving privacy. It's kind of like my new old thing. We were talking about this yesterday. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to get a new high in Zcash, most likely. And like I said, everything is going to unwind its FTX debacle. Zcash actually a lot closer than anything else. Probably going to wind up at 53. Ocean. Just make sure I got the right symbol here. Okay, hopefully I told whoever had this to stay in it. This is the bigger the base, the higher in the space. Now, I know it's up 25%, and that's awesome. Okay, like kind of like the God candle higher. There's more room to go. Being a pig has paid. Okay, but up 20% in one day, I would be peeling money off and putting it somewhere else. It depends on the size of the bag. If it's a small bag, just leave it. If you got money in this, take some of it and put it somewhere else. Now, people asking about gold and silver. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's look at PAX. Actually, let's look at PAX over on DeMark. Okay, pulling up the sequential work. Okay, so massive support in PAX on a 4-hour chart at 1858, and it's working on a 13 bottom. I'm guessing they've got one more down day. Maybe they have a thrust to 1840. I don't know. I just feel like buying gold, right? I feel like it's just absolutely time to take it from them on this drop. It's the same thing with silver. Okay, there's SLV. Okay, they've just killed this thing. Predictably, as we saw yesterday, they ran the stops in SLV below $20.44. So we are fast approaching the buy zone in gold and silver. The graph, we covered it a bunch earlier, but don't worry, we can do it again. Okay, this is the hottest of hot topics because it's moving. I'm thinking you got 3 more up days in this. Okay, if I had the position, I would let it go up for 3 more days and then take the money. Bigger picture, okay, if you wanted to just get indiscriminately long something and you had to chase it, it's not the worst thing to chase. Multicoin Capital owns it, and they didn't own it because they thought it was going to go to 22 cents. They owned it because they thought it was going to go to $22, probably. Okay, so I'm not really into FOMOing into stuff that's up 20%, but clearly there's a fundamental shift going on here. It's more of a take profits and wait thing in 3 days. That's the best I can tell you. If you wanted to chase something, is it the worst thing to chase? No, but do you really want to buy something that went from 12 cents to 22 cents? Like we were talking about this 2 days ago with a couple guys. Maybe you could have chased then. Okay, that said, this could have 4 to 5 more up days. So I think if you're chasing it as a trade. If you're looking to invest, right? You're looking to invest, there may be other coins that you can look at, right? This is what's hot. It's trending on Twitter. It's doing the God candle. Generally speaking, God candles, I kind of want to take profits. Because nothing goes straight up. Okay? Nothing goes straight up. I don't want to. The cardinal sin in crypto is telling people to buy stuff up 25% on giant green candles. I'd rather have you buy something that went down for the last 3 days. Okay, Illuvium or ILV. Okay, so we got a lot of odd price action here in this. Okay, so if you look at a weekly chart, you know, you got almost no resistance until 116. And you probably have 4 more up weeks. In other words, if Bitcoin doesn't do anything, when you get these green candlesticks like what you have today, where people see it dip and guys come underneath, you got to assume that this is a stronger hand because they're buying it on the dip. Okay, Render, looking at this actively yesterday and earlier. We can do this again. Okay, Render, 13 top, no one cares. Okay, exploding out, 4 more up days. Multicoin Capital owns this. My guess is $2.47. Really, it can do 4 more up weeks. Now, if you're going to FOMO into something that makes sense. Render is metaverse infrastructure. Fundamentally, Render makes sense. Also, this bigger the base and higher in the space is nice. And if it takes out $2.47, you'll get yourself a God candle. Just keep in mind, this started at 50 cents. It's now at $2.50. I know you're really excited. I get it. I've been absolutely indiscriminately pounding the table. 4 live streams ago, I had the artist put a picture of a giant pickle with a rocket pack strapped to its back. So I'm the pickle with the rocket guy. Okay. Just reminding you that chasing stuff up 100% isn't always profitable. Sometimes buying the dip in boring stuff can also work. Okay. Now, if you're going to jump in, and I know you are, if you're going to FOMO in, don't FOMO in your entire position all at once, right? And as if you're going to FOMO, do it right. Here's the good news if you want to FOMO into render. So on a 4-hour chart, you went up, you made a 9 top, you took out resistance at 202, and that's holding as support. So you can lean on 202, and then it turns around, and this could be, like I said, another round higher in this. It can happen. Okay. When you get these 20% up candles, you may get 3 of them in a row. Don't get greedy and don't put everything in at the top. Don't. Okay. I'm all about the market. I'm all about the market on dips. I'm all about sector rotation. So I'm not telling you not to do this because like Render and the Graph, like Multicoin is in this and they're going to start pushing it. You want to hear the bullish case for Render and the Graph? I'll give it to you. Like, for example, if you owned a truckload of this stuff and retail was pouring in and it's trending on Twitter, if I was running a hedge fund, what would I do? Oh, I would just start buying more. I would just be like, every time it went down, I'd be there. I would absolutely be there. Wow. Really too bad I can't see the comments, man. This thing is lit up today. It's lit up. Rocking bull market style. Okay. 92 cents for Mina. That would seem to be next. That's a 4-hour chart. Okay. This is the story of the altcoin bull market right here. You have a 13 top and a 9 top. That was on the 2nd of February. You get the correction, the dip. It holds support right at 75 cents, and boom, someone was down there. Now, back to the original question. What's the AI play? The AI play is all the metaverse plays from last year. So wouldn't it be funny if AI woke up technology and technology was both defined as big cap tech and altcoins? How about them apples? Okay. If I owned this, the ceiling is now the floor. The ceiling is now the floor. The ceiling is the floor, and you've suffered with it. Let's just see what it can do. Ugh. Now, speaking of suffering, perp. Right? I absolutely loved and got somewhat dogmatic about decentralized derivatives. And then I had to watch as this blew up because of all kinds of issues from, I don't know, the tokenomics was no good, or the tokenomics wasn't sustainable at the time, or whatever the reason was. I mean, if this company, if this protocol gets its shit together, this was as high as 16. It was as high as 16. If you look at a 4-hour chart, just to try to get an idea, there was a 13 top that created a top for like 4 hours. It gave you one dip, and then it just resumed. I'm guessing 80 cents for perp. I would love to see a God candle in this. Let's look at DYDX. I went to a DYDX function. Consensus last year. I was so impressed with them. Okay. So DYDX looks like a top, gets the 9 top, but it comes back down to a DeMark support point at 288. They hit it down there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Everyone gets out, and then boom. Now, this may be a selling opportunity in DYDX. It's not clear yet. What I do know is people were buying dips in stuff that was down. Brief. Okay, again, you know, this stuff up probably a lot, up a lot today. You got paid to buy it when it was down. Just as a note, you did not get paid to buy it here, 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 or here when it was up. This is actually a really good example. Now, that said, looks like you could have 7 more up days. This count holds, it's probably going to have a God candle today, right? So if you go back over here to what the general market is doing, Ravencoin up 7%, Optimism OP up 3%, Vulcan up 7%, right? Matic is up 5%, right? ETH is up 3%. You got to remember, I got a GAN point at 1690. We're looking at all these altcoins. We're like, yeah, if it's up 40%, rotate somewhere else. 1690 in ETH, 140 in QNT. Do not doubt how stupid this can get. We were looking at Rose. Rose is up 20%. Right? People are asking, what's the next AI trade? It's not the AI trade. It's the unwind FTX trade. Like, this is a good example of what's going to happen. We've had people come on the stream, good for you, and saying, hey, what about Rose? It's like, hey, if you were long this and you're suffering, stay with it. Okay, S&P, right? So there's an unfilled gap here in S&P. This is cash, SPX. I don't know. Didn't they tell you everything you needed to know with this? This just says it all. I mean, people are so bearish, they can't see straight. They can't see straight. And it's bump and run on a fib speed resistance line. That was one of the things, like, if I had to teach TA, and I remember the guy that taught candlesticks, like Steve Nissen, like the guy that wrote the original book, his methodologies were so unusual at the time. Like when he taught a course, he wrote the book. He taught a course. There was 3 people in the course. 3. And he would always say, because candlesticks were so new and unusual at the time, he'd be like, always use a candlestick formation with something else. Always use it with like an RSI or a plain old support and resistance point. In these markets, I like these fib speed resistance lines. Down, hate it, love it. 4,300 next. Nobody is talking about a new high in equities. I know Jim Cramer is. I know making fun of Jim Cramer is funny, but I'm wondering if people are carrying this joke a little bit too far, right? In other words, not everybody loses forever. And this is unbelievable. Like, this is absolutely unbelievable. People are more bearish now than they were in 2008. And this is telling you, and I have said this, right? There is no way the Fed, there's 6% Fed funds. Are you kidding me? Yeah, if you're moving to Mars and setting up your own country, you're going to have a U.S. debt default. I did a TikTok. I'm like, oh, wow, we think a U.S. debt default is funny. A brief word on U.S. debt defaults. If you get a finance textbook, you'll open it up and you'll say, in order to create a value for stocks, bonds, real estate, anything that produces cash flows, projects within an organization like an industrial company, anything that produces a cash flow, anything that has a dividend, anything that has an expected future value, you need a risk-free interest rate, which is normally what they assign to treasury bond yields, treasury note yields. So if you have a U.S. debt default, that's obviously a black swan, but it's a world-ending black swan, because if you don't have a risk-free rate, you don't have finance. Now, I know in crypto, we would be okay if legacy blew up, but actually, we're not okay if everything blows up, like everything. Like if you have finance itself come unglued, that's not good for anybody. And that's not happening. And Jerome Powell is not going to make that happen. So no matter how grumpy he looks and how tough he talks, Jerome knows. He knows what's in the finance textbook, and he knows that this number is up only. He is done. Done. Which is why crypto can go up only, right? Like, what's up only in crypto? All the stuff that no one owns. Like, if I had said render the graph, VeChain up 6%. Yes. See, I'm cheering with my lampshade on my head, right? No cheering, but VeChain is making a new high, and I'm not really seeing much resistance. You know, and people love to FOMO, and they're going to. I just don't think you need to FOMO into something that's already up 20%. Synthetics, can't stop loving it. The new guilty pleasure. Okay, this blue bar, I don't know. Maybe you got 3 more big up days in synthetics. Let's go check DeMark. Man, this is like the streams of old. I'd be curious to know how many people we got on the stream right now. Oh, wait, I can see how many people we got on the stream right now because you're all going to hit the like button, right? You're all going to hit the like button for the group, right? That's me and Team Gold Retriever, who had you on this way back when. Oh, man, look at this 4-hour chart of synthetics. There's resistance at 292. It's taking that out. I don't know. Should I say it? Should I tell you? Should I say the number 334? $3.34? I don't know. Let's just make sure it's not. Yeah, I mean, 13 top dip. Like, everybody has sold this. Now, this is another theme. Are people selling my coin with these wicks? And is it going down? No. Like, everybody sold synthetics for a month. It didn't go down. So it's probably going to 323. Or you got 7 more up days. I would not be surprised to see this thing just go. To see certain altcoins just reprice themselves. I mean, this looks like it's up a lot, but is it? Now, I don't want to commit the cardinal sin in crypto of like going crazy bullish and telling everybody to buy stuff up 20% because I don't think that's the right trade. But I think stuff up 5% or like ETH up 3 or 4%, ETH prints 1,700 based on GAN work. It could just go. Now, based on that, my thesis on this is that I could wait for ETH to hit 1,700 and go. I'm sorry, 1,690 and go. Or I could pay 1,670 knowing that they've already washed it out. Right? Like, let's go to 89-minute ETH. Like, they already washed everybody out. You know, they washed you out. They washed you out. And now it looks like, oh, that's synthetics. Okay. They tried to wash you out in ETH once, twice, 3 times, and they tried to wash you out on Powell, which made me laugh. I'm like, really? We just sold ETH because grumpy old man hasn't seen this chart yet? Please stop it. Okay. This, if you want to FOMO, not investment advice. If I'm FOMOing it, I'm FOMOing into something that I think has massive upside. In other words, the market is repricing itself. Wow. Okay. Trying to keep up here. Voxel. Okay, putting a DeMark work on it. Okay, looks emotional, right? In other words, they gapped it up yesterday, but there's someone down here buying it today. Okay, on a weekly basis, you know, for 2 weeks in a row, every time they take it up, people sell. Every time they take it up, people sell. And theoretically, this can go up 4 more weeks. So if they sell it and they don't break it, and you suffered with this, I'm assuming you have. If you suffered with this, leave it. I mean, you lived through FTX. Now, if you happen to buy this and you made money, there's nothing wrong with taking profits in some of the smallest coins. So this goes back to an important lecture about 2009. In 2009, the rally started off the great financial crisis lows with all of the highly speculative stuff that no one would own. Everyone doubted it. I'm never buying this in my lifetime. And it just went straight up. And then eventually, after they got done with that trade, they said, okay, I missed that trade. I'm not missing the trade in the higher quality stuff. I don't know whether this is low or high quality. Okay. What I do know is when you go from, 15 cents to 45 cents, you're going to have people taking profits. You want to stay with this trend? Stay with it. They've been selling it for 3 days or 4 days or 5 days. It's not going down. It's not going down. So I'm all about sector rotation, and I probably made myself clear about that. Right? The way you trade these bull markets is something goes up 40%, you take the money, you put it somewhere else. 3 days ago, this was the place to put the money when you rotated out of something else. You rotated out of Optimism at $3 and you piled into this. You want to leave it? You can leave it. But I think, this is active portfolio management at its best, right? VeChain, we did talk about briefly. Okay. I never understood why VeChain went down. I never understood. I got the book from Rickards about the supply chain that's like permanently broken. I haven't gotten to the book yet. 0.028 in VeChain. I don't know. Maybe because this is somehow, maybe this has got affiliations in Asia that people don't like. I mean, if it was going to top, it would have. I mean, it unwound its entire FTX down trade. Man, if you've been holding VeChain, like I said, just leave it. I mean, some stuff I would want to rotate out of, okay, but this took out an important resistance that should have stopped it from this 13 top. So basically, VeChain is making it official. This 13 top, this signal here did not work. It just created a pause. Is this emotional today? Probably. What is VeChain doing today? It's up 6%. Is that the end of the world? No. It's probably going to top out. It's probably going to slow down. Greed is bad. Trend following is good. Greed is bad. I think what I would love to see in VeChain is to show me that the floor, the ceiling is now the floor, right? If you can buy a dip, if this thing dips and it holds, then it's gone. Okay. You probably going to get some sort of pause here. If you've suffered with it, leave it. Okay. ASTR. Wow, the altcoin request line is back. Okay, you have a 13 top and resistance at 0.06. This is what I'm looking for across altcoins, right? Everyone sold it. It didn't go down. It dipped, and then you got the God candle right into resistance. So my inclination here, unless there's a fundamental story that I don't know about, this one, I would take the money. That sounds funny coming from me based on what I've been talking about. Now, I believe we were looking at this earlier, and I was saying, I was wondering if you should be buying things just below resistance, expecting them to explode. And I wasn't sure about it. And now Mr. Market is like, oh, not bullish enough? Allow me to demonstrate. This is why I want to play the sector rotation game, right? You want to buy stuff when it's down. If you're holding this, it's taking out the previous fourth wave at 50 cents. Everything is going to look good on an up day. Remember that, right? Buying giant green candles hasn't worked here for a while. The last time it paid to buy a green candle was January 13th. Now, if I was holding this, leave it. It's not going to kill you to see what happens. Now, there is going to be a dip. So, you know, QNT we did. I can pull up QNT on DeMark. So in my mind, if QNT is above 140, it has a legitimate shot at 180. Again, you get the 13 top in QNT on Feb 2. It comes off. All right. Now we're moving over to GLDN and BARK. Okay. Before I do that, though, let me just remind everybody of a couple things. Okay. I haven't been doing the risk management lectures. All right. So if you've been here on the stream, don't go anywhere. You need to listen to this. Okay. Russia reported a $1.76 billion ruble budget deficit. Revenue totaled roughly 1.4 trillion rubles. The Ministry of Finance said last week that it will increase the sale of foreign currencies as it expects a 108 billion ruble shortfall in oil and gas sector this month. Okay. The Russians are hurting. Remember all the sanctions and all this other stuff that they did? And sort of nobody paid any attention to it because it was like, it's not going to work. It's a trap. I kind of felt the same way. George Friedman today, just as a point of information, the smartest guy from Geopolitical Futures, said very simply, at the 1-year anniversary of the war, we have given the Ukrainians, we as in the United States, we have given the Ukrainians the offensive capability to hit Russia inside of Russia hard. Now, supposedly we dialed the settings back so they can't launch it into Russia. But if they do, that gives Russia the excuse to attack U.S. soldiers in Poland. And this guy even suggested that Russia could stage something called a false flag operation that would justify an escalation. There is going to be a geopolitical headline. So today, as we're listening to this, is a massive FOMO day in crypto. All right, that's fine. Just remember, if you made a lot of money and it's up 30% in one day, right? Remember where we were 2 months ago when everyone was like, oh, this can't go up. Like I heard the biggest crypto YouTuber said the bull market's back today. You know, nobody was saying that a month ago. Okay, GLDN. Let's do some fib extension analysis on this. Okay. Okay. It'd be great if GLDN held 75 cents. Okay. Bigger picture in this. The bigger the base, the higher in the space. Now, of course, I'm the director of research at Gold Retriever. I own this token. I work at the company. I have BARK as well. That's the water token. Here it is in 10 words or less, folks. Gold Retriever is going to get an order for water. We've got water rights in Greenland. That water is going to be priced in BARK, which I'll show you in a minute. And in order to buy BARK, you're going to have to buy GLDN. GLDN is the native token like ETH. ETH is the native token for the Uniswap universe. GLDN will be the native token for the commodities trading universe that we're building. Commodities on chain. So GLDN is the native token. GLDN pays you an auto staking reward in BARK as a reward for getting in early. The evolution of the tokenomics of GLDN is BARK. There are shorts. there are shorts, videos of me standing inside the strategic water reserve, where water from Greenland will get stored in Texas. People will go looking for value investments. Frankly, as far as I'm concerned, this, believe it or not, is a give up trade. This is bark 4 hours. For whatever reason, because I mean, there have been big airdrops. I mean, I'm not going to, you know, I bought bark. I got airdropped bark as a GLDN holder. I bought more bark and then they airdropped it again. But I mean, so if you're holding GLDN, you're getting packs, you're getting bark. When people pay for water, they're going to pay in bark. Just like when you buy NFTs, you pay in ETH. And they're going to put NFTs on Bitcoin. And I'm like, well, I don't understand that. And people are going to buy water priced in bark. Is that hard to understand? A little. But what happens with things that are hard to understand? Once people understand them, they go up massively. By the way, noticed any climate, weird weather, planetary things going on? Typhoons in California. You know, many thousands of people dead in Turkey. And that's got to be 15,000 people dead, right? What happens when it comes time to do the water trade? You can invest in a solution, right? There's all this negative stuff happening. Water is disappearing. And you can invest in a solution as people are giving up. Like I hit the strategic water reserve. I saw it. I stood there. I talked to the guys. I know that the salespeople are going to get orders from somebody big. People are going to go looking. People are going to go looking for value investments. By the way, we have something called Block 47, which will allow high-grade diamonds. This goes back to GLDN. I guess technically, you know, this is the value proposition, or I guess the shill. One of the smartest guys I know in crypto is the point man to get the diamonds and jewelry, the massive volume that goes through in the Diamond District on 47th Street in New York on chain. So there's a smart guy I know in the YouTube crypto community and one of the smartest guys I know in crypto and tenacious guys in crypto in general down there getting proof of ownership, NFTs, the whole setup so you can buy diamonds wholesale on chain using crypto. The revenue from that process that flows into the gold retriever coffers will be used. Part of that will be used to buy back GLDN. So two things will happen. Everyone will give up, just what's happening. And then people will have to buy GLDN to buy bark because they need to buy water. And then we will be buying back GLDN using the profits from selling jewelry as an alternative asset online. We actually have company down on 47th Street. The big investment banks are down there trading diamonds. Am I trading dollars back into ETH or BTC? What's your fiat? So I would trade everything back into dollars if I was holding fiat, right? I'm completely comfortable holding ETH. Like I hold, you know, modest amounts of ETH in MetaMask. So if I'm holding dollars or ETH. So if you're selling altcoins or taking profits, I have no problems holding ETH because based on the GAN work, ETH is a lottery. It's a lottery ticket. It's a GAN lottery ticket to own ETH because if ETH prints 1690 and accelerates, it could just go. And I think this square range is bullish. Also, holding Bitcoin, I think if this alt season continues, you can look at Bitcoin as a stable coin at 23K. So I'm indifferent. Okay, so does Shade Protocol still have a future? Okay, that would be more of a question for a fundamental analyst. Okay, I know they're after FXS. I think, is that Frax? I think that's Frax. Okay, I'll have to research shade and come back to you. Okay, will there be airdrops for Block 47? Okay, so back to the GLDN universe. I'll just leave this up here. This is ETH 89 minute. I don't know how they're managing airdrops. We have a huge Telegram community for Gold Retriever. I don't know if the producer can drop the link for that. Gold Retriever Telegram is the best place to get news on that. I don't think Block 47 is going to necessarily have its own coin. I think the way to participate in Block 47 is through owning GLDN. Galaxy Digital. Man, do I want this to go up? I mean, you know, I would love it if this was a stealth trend line breakout, right? Again, Galaxy Digital, the stock of Mike Novogratz, a crypto hedge fund, which of course no one would ever buy because crypto is dead, right? Love this Williams oscillator right here. I mean, of all the charts I've pulled up today, like, to me, this feels like it could just go up. Right now, Williams oscillator does predict big moves. There was a similar read here right before it ripped up. You know, big moves can be up, big moves can be down. God, just got to think. I just got to think these little coins are telling you what's going to happen in the big ones. Okay. Here's the deal. If you bought something and it does a God candle, rotate the money out, not investment advice, into something that's high quality, that's not doing a God candle that day. If you've suffered with an altcoin and it's up 50% in the last 2 days and you don't want to sell because you've suffered with it, that's fine. If you have trading and investing profits, do not be a pig. There will be a sharp flash dip off the Ukraine situation, right? Everything does not revolve around small altcoins. It does today on an up day, but managing profits, right? Moving from highly speculative to higher quality, I'm not opposed to it. Because if there is a dip, you won't mind it if you have ETH and it goes down 5% or 8%, you can buy some more. You FOMO into something that's up 40%, you could get a 20% drop and you're not going to like that. Okay? Buy on red. If you have to FOMO into something that the hedge funds own, that is involved in metaverse infrastructure, because metaverse is the AI play. That's the market update for today. Hopefully we get the comments fixed. I know you're going to hit the like button on the way out. We'll see you tomorrow.